All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for June 1st, 2021. My name is Bill Soroka. I am the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. And I'm the new host of the Side Hustle Lounge podcast. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to my amazing co-host, Carol Ray, founder of Notary to Pro. Carol, how's it going today?
It's going rainy.
Oh, good.
But we've lived all over the country, but I have never ever experienced weather like it is here. We wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and the thunder and the lightning feels like the house is going to just explode. And then you wake up a couple hours later, and the sun is out, and it's hot, and it's like this every day.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything new going on with you and the course or the industry? Anything you want to share with us?
No, I just enjoying a lot of time with my graduates, which is kind of cool. Doing a lot of mentoring, and I get to see them because I'm doing a lot of it on Zoom.
Fantastic. That's one of the most rewarding parts of the whole gig.
Yep.
Love it. All right. And Laura Biewer, of course, welcome here. You want to introduce everyone to you?
Well, hi, thank you, Bill. I'm Laura, and I'm the founder of Coach Me Laura, as well as the Notary Symposium, an annual event put on by notaries for notaries. And what's new in my world is I have my first live state-specific training. First state up is California, if you weren't aware, and it's on June 19th. So if you want to find out more about that, go to my website, and right on my homepage, you'll find out more information about that. And then we'll be able to announce the next state that comes after that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And I'm so glad that you're doing that. I know this super specific state training is what this industry has been craving. And just so you know, guys, if you go to coachmelora.com and if you're in California and you want to participate with Laura on that, use we can tell them about the coupon code, right, Laura?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
coupon code is PEEPS.
Yeah, save like $70 off the cost of that thing. It's PEEPS, PEEPS. And I'll put the link here direct to the.
And even if you're not in California, down at the bottom, there's an I'm interested in this state. And if you would put your state on the list, then the ones with the most interest would be the ones coming up next.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Love that. And then, guys, I just want to make a real quick announcement, too. Next week is the National Notary Association's conference. They are completely sold out. I know they increased the amount of seats they were making available, and those are completely gone now. So hopefully you're one of the lucky ones that got tickets to that, because I think you're the only ones that get access to the content. Yes. But because of that, because it's happening next... Is it the 7th and 8th, that Monday and Tuesday? We don't want to interfere with a conference. So we're not going to have TNT next Tuesday. And I'll send out a reminder email letting you guys know that too as we get a little closer. If you are in or participating in conference, awesome. Can't wait to see you in there. So thank you for that support.
And Bill, before you go on, just so you guys know, Bill and I do have one of those workshops on Tuesday at, is it 10:15, Bill? What time is that?
I believe it's 10:15.
I want to say right around 10 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
Bill and I have a workshop we're doing together. So if you are part of the group that is locked in with National Notary, that would be great. It will be recorded for those who paid for it. We'll get all of it. You might see portions like 5 minutes, highlight reels that will show up on YouTube. But on YouTube will not be the whole thing like they did last year. You actually have to be part of it.
Awesome. This will be interesting for sure. Well, thank you for all that support. Let's dive in. Guys, TNT, this is like the old-fashioned call-in radio shows where you use different technology now. Use the raise hand feature in Zoom. We'll call on you. You can ask us any question that you'd like about your business, the industry. What we ask is that we maybe avoid document-specific calls on TNT just because it's really difficult without actually seeing the document to describe it. When we call on you, just let us know what state you're in, ask your question directly, and if we need some background information, we'll definitely ask that. All right. Here, let me scroll up here. There we go. Lisa Oakes, looks like your first one with your hand up again this week.
Really? I
prize
am
for that.
on it. Okay. Get ready. I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but I am a little bit long-winded. First of all, I want to thank Laura for the recommendation of these awesome pens. They are, for everyone else, they are the Jetstream, I think Uniball.
Uniball.
Oh, game changer. Okay, that being said.
All right, love that.
I also want to ask Laura, if her state-specific training, is it similar to the private one that I did with you, or is it going to be different?
It's going to be similar. Same kinds of documents that I use to navigate. So if you've already done my private one, really what's different is that when it's just you and me, then we get to focus on what your concerns are, and I get to spend a little more interaction time with you than if I have 25, 30 people on the call. Then you don't get as much of me. So yeah, I think you've already hit it.
Okay, thank you. Here's the thing. So my question, I'm going to ask my question, and then I'm going to tell you just a little bit why I asked that. So I got a call from someone that I did my first signing with. And even though I made a couple of mistakes, he called me back, which made me happy. He's a small signing service in Southern California. And he said, "Are you available at this time?" Yes. So I only had about 3 hours to prep and to drive 45 minutes. So I just love the challenges I give myself every day. But I feel like just go for it. So I said yes. Then he offered me 125. And I said, okay, that's fine. So then, but I didn't know what I was getting. What I ended up getting was a split signing where the husband and wife were not talking to each other. And in fact, he didn't really know about that. So this isn't to blame him, but this is to say this is what I ended up getting was a split signing, 225 pages of documents, everything in triplicate because there were 3 signers doing the refi. So I had to go to the husband, couldn't tell him what was happening with I just had to get him to sign. So that took about a half hour. Then I drove over to the other people. I was there from 6 until 10 o'clock. I didn't get home till 11 p.m. I ended up making 225. I think he realized what happened after he asked me. My question is, they call you everything I've ever gotten, and I have not signed up for a bunch of signing services because I want to go a little slower so that I do a really good job at first. And my question is, what questions do I ask the person that calls me on the phone so that I know what I'm getting into? Now, I know he only made $75 himself on this, and he gave me $225. So
Okay.
I feel like it's not like I could ask for more money, and I don't mind spending that time in the beginning. It's like paid, but what do I ask so I don't do that every single time?
Yeah, great question. Great problem to have. Laura, Laura or Carol, anything jump into your mind?
I'm just looking to see if Carol, I don't see Carol, so I don't know if she's
I'm here. Yeah, go ahead. I'll add to it if I need.
Well, one, I'd say yay for the signing service who did cough up some more money, because that obviously was a lot of extra work. And the questions I ask would include number of signers. So that would tip me off if I have more than 2. The other thing I ask is it a reverse mortgage or VA? Because those tend to be the bigger packages. That's not always true, but for the rule of thumb, those tend to be the bigger packages. So those are like the 2, big questions that alert me that I'm going to have. And my third one is, do you need any special handling? Meaning, do I need to scan it before I can send it back? Any special requirements? Those are probably the 3 big tips for me that say, wait a minute, this has got some extra work going on. Carol, What do you got?
That's about sums it up, I think. I don't have anything to really add.
That was really
So
good.
not a lot of things to ask. This man is very good about telling me usually how many pages it is. And I think the split signing came after. But the funny part is the lender was a good friend of the woman that was refining with her parents. And he told her it was only going to take about a half an hour.
Yeah, he must not be in
like
California. But I will say this. There was something you were saying. Oh, number of pages. Number of pages doesn't always indicate for me how long I'm going to be there, because there could be only 4 notarizations and I'm going to zip through all the other pages. I'm just collecting signatures. What really takes up our time in California particularly is the journaling and all those certificates I have to fill out. So, I mean, as you get more experience, you'll start to see what like there's patterns with certain title companies or certain lenders that just have a lot of notarizations, even though the pages aren't a lot, but there's just a bigger amount, and that takes a little experience to know that.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. This company did everything in triplicate for the 3 signers. So they each signed. I mean, I think I ended up with 17 notarizations. And it took me, just for their part, which was the long part, it took me 3.5 hours. And the parents needed to drive back. They thought it was going to be a half hour. They needed to drive 2.5 hours home. And I said, look, we're not supposed to give advice or anything, but you guys need to spend the night, because they were 80 years old. I said, I don't want to be responsible for your car accident. I was going at the speed of light. Yeah. I don't feel like I could have gone any faster.
And you probably can't, Lisa. And that's the thing too. This is an exception to the rule. So for my policy, I don't make rules for my company based on exceptions. There's 80% of your signings are going to run a certain way. That's how you mold your business and build your business. And just know that you're going to get curveballs all the time, every now and then, depending on how many signings you do. You have 100 and 150 signings a month. Yeah, you're going to get maybe more curveballs than somebody who does 3 per month. But you don't have to come up with policies and conversations for just the 1%ers.
Okay.
Most of your signings are going to go relatively smooth. They follow a certain system and rhythm, especially if you systemize it, especially if you do the same things every signing. There's only so much you can control, but when you control that, they tend to go a lot smoother. So I would not, come out with a whole policy on how this is going to happen. It's just one of those weird, quirky things that happens.
Okay.
Great scenario though. And great. See here, signings like this, guys, give you the opportunity to be a hero to a transaction. So like Laura says, we had a chance to talk about it, is these challenges help strengthen relationships, not weaken them. So it's a great opportunity.
I think it really did, because when he called me back and asked me, I said, do you remember me? Because when he gave me my first job, I didn't tell him it was my first signing because I didn't want to come off as lame, So I just forgot to get them to initial the deed of trust, both the husband and wife, because she wasn't on the loan. I just didn't know what I was doing yet. So I went back and did it. And so he was fine with me. And he said, you should have told me, I would have helped you. But this time when he called me back, he didn't know who I was right away. I said, hey, Cameron, how's it going? I said, do you remember me?
Yeah.
And then, so I said, look, I told him after, this is what happened. I said, but bring it on. I said, this is, I'll take anything, because I really want to get good sooner rather than later. But I just thought, if this he's the only one that's called me. Everyone else just texts. Yeah. So You're right. It did. It was good for our relationship. He said, you're a rock star. I said, all right, just bring it. And I said, this is a good learning thing for me. So.
All right. Awesome.
Cameron's a great little signing service, by the way. He's the man. And I always take his calls, and I always take his jobs.
Oh, good.
You're talking about Cameron?
Good reputation.
Yeah.
Good reputation.
Yeah, I loved him. He's awesome. Yeah.
Lisa, I have a question. It's Carol.
Yes. Hi, Carol.
Tell me about the 80-year-olds not going home because they're 80. Listen, I'm only 2 years from that.
I know. So, well, it wasn't because they were 80. It was because they were having a glass of wine and they were 80.
Oh, okay.
And I did tell them, they offered me the wine. I said, no, I can't do that. And then I said, and probably there should be only one glass for you, because I need you to be in your right mind when you're signing these documents.
Okay.
They were awesome.
As long as I don't drink wine, I can still go home.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's 10 o'clock. I'm
All right.
like, I was feeling worried, but anyway, I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much. Always great to see you. Thank you. Henry Felder, thank
too.
you so much for being here. If you'd like to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Hey, Bill, Laura, Carol, how you doing? Henry from New York. Two questions. One of them, Laura, I'm in New York. I don't know if you have a list set up already on how you're doing the states, or is it as you just get feedback each day? I'm thinking about doing just the one-on-one with you instead of waiting for my state-specific one to come.
Right. So thanks for asking. I do have one-on-ones for all the states, but for the group ones, I'm obviously taking the ones that are going to be the more active, bigger states first. So New York, unless I have a lot of interest posted for New York, may be a while before you're going to get to a group one.
Okay, good. All right. And Bill, second one is it was a little humorous. I was home, getting ready for the side hustle. Your music come on, and then you got the champagne popping, and my wife thought that we was ready. So I got to blame you for that, Bill. I was letting her know I was doing the side hustle.
That's awesome. She's ready to party, huh?
Yeah. I said, no, that's Bill with the side hustle. We're not ready yet.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Henry. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. All right, Martha Thorpe, thanks for being here. You want to unmute? Tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, I'm Martha from Texas, and my question is this. I have heard in these meetings and in some of the notary groups online about a form not being compliant. The notary language isn't compliant and they have to attach a certificate. And I guess I don't understand what is required to make something compliant.
Great question.
Good question.
Laura, Carol?
Yeah, two parts to that. One is, what does it take? Well, every state has sufficiency requirements. Either you're going to use your own certificate, or if you're going to use what's on the document pre-printed, it has to have certain elements per your state's requirements. And every state sets those parameters. So you would want to, all the states pretty much include a venue, the certification statement, a place to sign and stamp. So that's kind of a general thing for all certificates. But beyond that, some states say, hey, the notary's name has to be inside of it. Or in some states, it has to have this particular, it has to have the signer's name inside of it. So you need to know that, so that when you're looking at the certificate provided, you know it meets the minimum requirements for your state before you use it. And if it doesn't meet it, you're going to go to a certificate instead. And then regarding the document you might have seen, is that the consent for minor for passport?
Well,
because that's a government.
No, well, it wasn't the passport form, but
Okay.
just like I've related to some general notarial work really is where I've heard that mostly. And I just wondered if it was beyond the state, the county, the line that says who was present, my signature, what else had to be there?
Again, it's Texas specific as it is for every state. So you would want to look in your handbook to see the minimum requirements for your certificate. And if the other certificate meets it, you don't need to attach.
Okay.
And then Martha, I think what happens is there are some states that are way pickier than others.
Yeah.
Texas is not as particular, but California, Florida is now a lot more particular. So that might be some of the conversation you're hearing.
Okay, cool. And one other question I had.
Sure.
Can you be a notary in 2 states?
Could be.
They're on the border.
Yeah,
I have students I have graduates who have dual commissions, but you have to get permission from both the Secretary of States.
Some states allow it and some states don't, Martha. So
Right.
Okay. Because
definitely
I
wanna
live on
check
the
into it.
border of Texas and Oklahoma. And I get lots of calls for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering if I could be commissioned in Oklahoma to help.
You
I
need
would
to
look-
see
One exit away.
what are the requirements to be a notary? If you have to live in Oklahoma, then the answer would be no. If it's work or live in Oklahoma, then it may be yes. Again, as Carol said, you need to check that out.
So if I call the state Secretary of State office, I can find that out for both call both Texas and Oklahoma to find that
Yeah,
out?
start with Texas.
Okay.
The qualification.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. All right. Shayla Zimmerman, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help. Oh, Shayla, we can't hear you. Sounds like your microphone may not be working. I'm going to let you tinker with that for a minute. I'll come back to you. Sharon Batiste, thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. This is my first time coming on. My question is,
State.
oh, I'm sorry, from Michigan.
All right.
And okay, the first question is, like on the Notario page, it says State of Michigan, County of Oakland, and then acting in the county of, do I put Oakland again if I'm in that county, or do I put, like if I'm in Wayne County, do I put Wayne County? The first? Okay,
Yeah, the active one is where's your primary or home county. The venue one, the first one is where are you physically at the moment.
okay, and acting in the county of this venue as well?
Well, I
No,
don't know
it's where you were commissioned.
home county. Where did you file? What county?
Okay, I'm sorry, I was listening to people. I'm in Oakland County.
Well, then it could be both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's just a difference. The venue is always about where you physically are at the moment, and that may or may not be where you're actively a notary.
So, okay. Okay, my other question is, I was doing creating a Google business page, and it had a section that says upload pictures. What type of pictures do you upload on Google My Business?
Great question. All kinds of pictures. And pictures are really important to Google, and especially if you're going to follow through and tag them using search engine optimization. But you can post, you want them to be kind of relevant and you want them to be original. That's the best way to get them done. And I usually would recommend pictures that show you and you sharing your passionate journey. That might be like you in your car. That might be you on the road. That might be you in a stack of papers without showing any personal information, of course. Maybe you in a coffee, something that shows you in the day in the life. It could be professional headshots. It could be any number of things, but those landscapes for your area, if you've got maybe a fountain or a canyon or a bridge or something that's real clear about your geographical area, you could take pictures of that kind of stuff.
Oh.
But the way that the SEO works with Google is that if you take the picture, it gets a little more weight than just pulling pictures from the internet or using stock photos.
Okay, great. I have one more question, and it's can you register your business as a tax exempt? Because I was on Best Buy, and there was a section that offered if you want to register your to be in the tax exempt customer program. And I was wondering, can notaries register like that?
I don't know. I think that usually has to do with if you are reselling products. So you don't have to pay taxes when you buy, but you'll have to collect tax on the front. And that's usually not what we do because we're service-based.
Okay.
Unless you have some kind of wholesaling tie-in or side hustle in your business. I don't think so, but I'm not a tax advisor or a government official either. Carol, Laura, do you have any insight into that?
I thought the same thing, a tax exempt.
Okay. Thank you all so much. And I appreciate every one of you. Okay.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, Shayla, I'm going to come back to you. Are you ready for us? Get that mic working? You're still muted though. All right, I think Shayla's still working on it. Mike Howard, nice to see you on here.
Good to see y'all. Thank you so much for taking my question. So I'm not sure who would be best suited for this. So here's the situation. I did a signing back. Oh, I'm in Arizona. I apologize.
Thank you.
I did a signing back on July 2nd, 2020, and I just got notice from a title company that it looks like I put the wrong date. I put June 2nd, 2020. I confirmed in my journal that I did meet with them on July 2nd, 2020, and they stated that they need a new acknowledgement to have this deed re-recorded. So how best do I fix this?
Laura, what do you think?
Well, if he needs to do a new acknowledgement, it would need to be a new date unless Arizona allows for corrections and allows you to recreate an acknowledgement with the old date. So that would be in Arizona handbook if it's addressed. If it's not addressed, then the best recommendation would be that you verified it was in your journal, that you get the original document back so you can go meet with the people and redo it, and you would redo it the corrected date. And in your journal, you would make a note that it was a date correction to reflect the correct date.
So they would re-sign the deed of trust with, and when I look, it's funny, when I look at the what they sent me, it was actually recorded back in July of 2020.
Right.
Yeah,
So do I redo I get the original and I have them sign it. I checked Arizona's handbook.
right.
They put on looking at the deed of trust, it's one of those ones where their signature was on one page with no date, and then the notarial certificate was on a separate page.
So they don't need to date their signature.
Right. So
And as a matter of fact, since it's an acknowledgement, they can just re-acknowledge that they did sign it back on that date.
Okay.
And then your certificate would match that date, assuming that's
2nd.
allowed in Arizona. And then you'd make the note in your journal to indicate what you did.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
All right. Great question, Mike. And that just goes to show how errors can slip through the cracks all the way through recording. So it does happen sometimes. All right. Shayla, are you ready for us? Not yet. Alicia Jones in Pennsylvania.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Just 2 quick questions. Where did I write them? Oh my God. Okay. The first question I have, I'm a little confused about. When a document says that they're sworn and deposed in the document section, but the notarial certificate says acknowledged. Am I doing a verification of oath and an acknowledgement, or just an acknowledgement?
Great question, Laura. What do you say?
Well, you've got 2 different notarial acts going on, right? It says sworn and it's got acknowledged, right? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes. So the document says sworn, but the certificate says acknowledged.
So you need to give an oath so that they can swear what's in there is truth. And then you're going to fill out the acknowledgement certificate, and you perform 2 different notarial acts. So you would want to, if you're journaling, record both. That's one way to go about it. The other way to go about it is fill out the acknowledgement and fill out a jurat to attach to demonstrate you did, in fact, give the oath.
Okay.
You can, people don't know this, but you can notarize one signature 2 different ways.
Right, I didn't know that. Thank you. And my next question is, if there's no venue, can I put a venue underneath my signature in the certificate? Or do I have to add another one? So there's no venue on the top. Can I just add a venue, the state and county, under my signature line?
Well, the venue doesn't go under the signature line. So I'm sorry, I'm not quite get what you're asking.
So there's no venue on the notarial certificate, no venue up top, no space to put the venue on top. Can I add it on the bottom?
No, I would say you need to replace it with your own. The venue
Okay.
belongs at the top of the certificate.
Okay, all right, just wanted to know. All right, that's it. Thank you so
All right,
much, guys.
beautiful. Thanks for being here, Alicia.
All right, bye.
All right. Kristen Benbow, I happen to know you're in California. Welcome.
Hey guys. Yes, California. I only had a simple question. Is these questions that everybody comes here to ask about loans, if I'm looking for an alternative besides Facebook or people to text, can I call the NNA, and how are they in answering these types of loan questions? Any experiences out there?
Well, what do you mean loan questions? Are you talking about document questions?
Mhm.
So with very, very, what do you call it? The ones that we see all the time, they might be able to handle that, but they're not there to handle loan document questions. They're there to handle notarial questions about that document. So that's where their expertise is. It's in the notarial part.
Okay.
If it's a document that we see all the time or we've worked through before at the NNA hotline, then they may be able to address it. Like the passport for consent is one that was a big issue. So they're all over that one. But I would not use the NNA to ask about document questions, because what they're going to tell you is, we can't tell you what goes in the document. That's not your job. Your job is the certificate.
Yeah. Okay.
So remember that rule. It's like, we got to stay in your lane. So if you have a question about a document that's in a document package that you've been hired for, then the hierarchy is that if it's about the lending side, you're going to go to the lender. If it's regarding the closing agent, maybe the settlement statement, you go to the closing agent. Every now and then you can go to the actual hiring company, like the signing company too. But remember, they're in the same place you are, almost worse, because they probably haven't even looked at the documents yet. So they're going to just be going off of their past experience.
Yeah, and I've been emailing the signing service just, out of respect, really. And then they're always just forwarding me off to the escrow officer or the lender anyway. So they're happy to answer questions. I was just wondering, I'm trying to widen my circle, and I don't want to bombard one person or, Facebook.
Right.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And remember that this gets better and easier with experience too, as you go through it. If you have questions, it should probably only be about documents that maybe aren't filled in, but it's not going to usually be about documents that just need a signature or a brief description. You've got all the information you need to do your job in your hand. Those are like your cue cards. Those documents are like your cue cards. Even if you don't understand what the document is or what it does or any of that, that's not your role. So you have the title usually in bold across the top. And sometimes, especially if you lay the foundation in the beginning of the signing and establish some rapport, you can have some fun with it. Like, holy cow, guys, this lender does this kind of wonky. Let me read this and make sure it is what I think it is. And you can quickly read the first paragraph or two and formulate a couple of sentences that briefly describe it. Okay, yeah, this is what's going to help authorize your escrow payment account, or whatever it is. And you can lay it down in front of them. If they have questions beyond the brief description, that's not your job. If they really want to understand how that document works, if they want to understand the ramifications of it, then they need to contact their lender.
Yeah, I did, I've had some opportunity to look through the documents, and, a lot of them look familiar to me just because I've been through my own, my own loans, and also now a few of these, and I used to be a lender, or not a lender, but a loan officer. So I'm familiar with a lot of the basic ones, but there's just a handful that I'm like, what is this? And I have to ask, what do I do with this? I don't even know. So I don't think it hurts to ask.
It doesn't hurt to ask if there's action to take on the document.
Right.
But if there's no action to take, I wouldn't be asking, how do I describe this? Those types of questions I would not be asking. You have all the information you need in your hands. If there's lines to fill in and they're not filled in already, and you've got to find out what action the signers need to take, that's different. But if it's just like, what is this and how do I describe it? That's probably not serving you the best. Yeah.
It's mostly forms that need to be filled out.
Yeah,
it's unclear.
exactly.
Some of those are unclear.
Yeah, totally.
Bill, I'd like to add something if I may. This is Carol.
Please.
I hate to interrupt, but one of the things I tell my graduates, because they're new, is that when you do the signing and you act confident and do what you need to do and be yourself and all that, beyond that, when you're sitting at the table, those people are looking at you and they're going, how does that person remember all of these documents? They're amazing. Mm-hmm. They don't know you're brand new. They don't know that you don't know a couple of documents in there. So it's easy to pull off that, I've got all these documents and I just have never seen this one. Do you mind if? and then do
Yeah.
whatever you need to do to find out what you need. So, but just
My
remember.
first signing, the lady said, "Wow, you must have been doing this for a long time. You know what you're doing." And I was like, "Yep."
I hear that. I do. I hear that all the
All the
time
time.
from my students. They're like, they're so scared at the beginning and nervous and everything else. And then they'll get that question, how many do you do of these a week? And they're like, oh, enough. And it's the first signing.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. All right. Linda in Oregon. Or is this Brian? Linda or Brian in Oregon?
You're so crazy. It's always going to be Linda on the
All right.
phone talking, because he's quiet and shy. Not me. No. I got work to do.
All right.
Okay.
What's going on?
I want to celebrate with this group right here. I have done 1,000 signings. Woohoo!
All right. Congratulations.
Yes. And Miss Carol, I still don't know everything. Miss Laura, I'll never know everything that you all know, but I'm on my way. Yay.
Yes, you are.
Well, I'm
Okay.
really proud of you, Linda, because you worked hard for this. Congratulations.
Thank you, dear. I appreciate that. I just have to celebrate, because you know who I'm married to. So anyway. Okay. So, it'd be like, that's nice.
Isn't
No,
that
you know,
nice?
That's all I get. It is that bad. Okay. But we're going to be 40 years this year. So evidently I've grown to like it. So what can I say?
Well, congratulations for that too.
Thank you, honey. Got a question. I'm doing a loan application, and do I have to leave a copy with the borrowers for the application?
That is a question for your hiring company.
Okay, hire company. All right. And the other one there's two others. Small Business Association, I've tried to get in touch with them to talk with someone about doing, setting up a small business. They're all shut down because of COVID, and I cannot reach anything online. That was one question, how to go about that through the barn. And the other thing that I've run into in marketing is that they've said a lot of the escrow officers, they're wanting to do the signings in the office again and not throw them onto the platforms and stuff. So it's really slowed down here in Oregon. So how would you go about marketing with that being the venue right now, or what do I want to say? Not the venue, but the water
landscape.
temperature.
What's happening?
Yeah, the landscape. Yeah.
All right, let's address each question. Let's go to your SBA question first. Carol, Laura, do you have any insight, or have you heard of any resources for getting into SBA for guidance right now?
No.
Because I have not.
Might want to talk to somebody at SCORE.
I've tried to get on SCORE, but I haven't been successful. So I'll just keep trying, but I just didn't know if anybody knew any other avenues.
I think if there's anybody on the call that has any resources, let's type them into the chat. That can be really helpful. I will also let you know, guys, sometimes with SCORE and the SBA, SCORE is that retired entrepreneurs that come out and offer coaching and things through the SBA. They can sometimes be a little old-fashioned and traditional in their thinking. So I have learned, I've had to coach out of SCORE a couple of times because they just can't see how anybody could build a business as a mobile notary and loan signing agent. So we have to kind of educate them a little bit first on our business sometimes.
Sure.
There's somebody in chat that says he's a SCORE mentor. You might want to reach out to him, Suhaili, or
Oh, that's Suhaili. Yeah. That's perfect. So Suhaili understands the business. So that's a great resource. So that might work out for you.
So if Miss Suhaili can send me her contact information, I for sure will contact her.
Yeah, perfect.
And then the other question was about marketing at this time, with the landscape being a little bit more, we're trying to do more in office at this point. So do I call them? Do I write them? Do I, how to go about that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Carol, come on down.
What I would suggest, because I don't care what they have to say, they're going to be overloaded, and I know that business pretty well.
Right.
You might want to tell them that you would be more than happy when they do get overwhelmed, even if it's just at the end of the month, that you'll come in and you'll just sit at their desk and do one signing after another and give them a reasonable price, and they'll use you as a resource when they're overwhelmed, especially at the end of the month.
Okay.
They're going to be, there's still so much refining going on.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
purchases are going to be huge. So, and here's what I would recommend too is, number one, don't let, and I'm this is more for the sake of everybody, Linda, but I want everybody to hear it, is sometimes we hear one thing from one person, one office, and we make it mean something for every office and every escrow officer. And that's
Right.
just not always how it works. Yeah, there's some people who are going to say, you know what, all right, we pivoted to mobiles for the pandemic, and now we're going to shift back. But as Carol said, it's not going to be sustainable for every office. In fact, it's not going to be sustainable for performing offices. And those are the people who are closing deals. That's your ideal
Right.
customer. If you're working with an office that has so little business that they can maintain and close all their loans and do all of their signings on their own, that's just not your ideal customer. They just don't have enough volume to support you. And there's plenty of other offices that do. So you might have to do some shifting too. And again, it's just going to boil down to relationships. Connecting, constantly connecting, building those relationships. And I love that you have transitioned into that escrow direct, because I think that's going to be a critical element for sustainability in this business, because refis will slow down probably in 12 to 18 months, maybe sooner, where I think we've already experienced a little bit of a slowdown on that too. But we've got to get into escrow direct so we can have a chance at the purchase business.
Right.
That we have a chance at the builder business. So I would just maintain your connection strategy. I know you use thank you cards. That's super effective. It really makes a difference. Whether you email, call, or knock on the door, you're going to find people who respond to every one of those. So you just do what feels right for you, what you have time for, because progress is more important than the perfection on this.
I'm thinking move the needle, Bill. Just move the needle. Okay,
Always
honey.
move that needle.
All right.
Carol,
Thank you
Laura,
so
anything
much.
else to follow up on that? I love that you asked that, Linda, because I know that's on so many people's mind right now. But Laura, anything else that you would add to that?
Well, I would say if they're saying that they're going to be doing signings in-house, and that means their doors are open. And so I wouldn't be afraid now to be popping in and, you know, bringing a little something, collecting some of those escrow officer cards, not bothering them, and then follow up with the cards that you were there. You drop something off, you know, they're quite busy, and you just wanted to let them know you had been there, and you want a chance to earn their business. You know, it's always in the follow-up that it's not like you're going to walk in and bring them something and then boom, they're going to give you a job. I'm not saying it could never happen. I'm just saying that's not the norm. The norm is you got to follow up with people.
Man, if you tasted my muffins, you would be calling me for the recipe. You know what I'm saying?
I might be calling for that recipe, but maybe not for an assignment. So that's why I got to follow up.
Okay, thank you.
And oh shoot, I forgot what I was going to say on that. Oh, but what Laura was just talking about is the follow-up, guys. It'll blow your mind, the statistics on when people make buying decisions. And when salespeople, and we're salespeople, if we're calling on people, we're selling a service here, we give up. And I'll tell you, notaries give up after one time, probably 90%. And then on occasion, we'll have the 10%ers that will follow up 2 times, 3 times, maybe even 4 times. But like 90% of buying decisions are made after the 7th, 8th, 9th time, just because they get exposure and they might get to know you, like you, and trust you a little bit because they see your face regularly and you're not just a fly-by-night notary. And there's tons of fly-by-night notaries. So once you can prove and stick with it and form that relationship, you get a lot more business that way on the escrow direct side.
NGO or NGU, never give up.
Never give up. Love it. All right. Great conversation. Thank you, Linda. Joel Ross from Montana. Thank you so much for being here. Nice to see you. How can we help?
Nice to see you again, Bill. I recently had a need to get some consulting help, and I think, Bill, that you probably offer that as a coaching member, but I'm not sure how in depth you can go. So I received a proposal from someone from a company that I won't name here, but that would be very familiar to you. And it was for business building help and accounting help. And what I received was an annual contract, and it was a fixed fee, apparently a reduced fee of $350 a month for a year, which is more consulting help than I need. I think I would probably need, 10 hours for 2 or 3 months, and then probably tapering off. And so I know that Laura and Carol both provide, I think, business building. I'm not sure about the accounting services, but I could use just some help kind of finding some people to help me on a fee basis to do some of the things that I'm not very good at. And there are a lot of those things. I've been doing these signings for 10 years, but I pretty much suck at building my business. I hate to say, but it's true. So that's a very general question, but.
Well, it is, but it's also, I love that you're even thinking about this, because I think one of the challenges that entrepreneurs have is they try to do everything and then it gets overwhelming and we do nothing. And my friend Greg says, work your strengths, hire your weaknesses. And I think that's a valuable lesson for all of us. I think, though, we would need, Joel, probably to get a little more specific on exactly what you're looking for. And because the cool thing about our industry, and I think Carol and Laura can attest to this too, is there is an entire industry that is built on servicing and providing us tools and resources, software, to make our lives easier. So I think these things exist. It's a matter of being introduced to what will work in your system. And I'd be totally willing to at least have just a conversation about what those are and introduce you to some of those systems. I do not provide consulting. I provide very minimal coaching and mentorship as part of the program, but I love having business building conversations because that's my phase 4. That's the big stuff, growing relationships, having keeping yourself top of mind, content creation, those types of things. So let's do that, Joel. And if you'd like, do you have my cell phone number still? Can you shoot me a text?
Sure. Well, I don't know if I have your cell phone number.
I'm going to type it into the chat here.
Okay.
Carol, Laura, do you have anything else that you might add to Joel's question?
No, I would agree. When people ask me about those kinds of things, there's software that I use, and I actually did hire a local person to come once a week to do data entry for me. Whenever it's something that it's a repetitive type task like that, and my time is better spent doing something else. And that could be a college kid. It could, somebody who is local that needs a small number of hours. It doesn't have to be a college kid. It could be a mom that stay at home and just wants some extra hours to do a very specific kind of task.
Well, my need is for someone to kind of help me put a roadmap together on how exactly I'm going to build my business. And some of the interactions I had with the people that sent me this annual consulting contract, they would give me a task list that had a whole bunch of things on it, and I follow instructions really well, and so, but I need some kind of basic, big picture strategy help and specific tasks. I need someone to be my taskmaster and then I need to be accountable to that person. So I'm not looking for someone to do repetitive tasks. I'm looking for somebody at a much higher level that can really help me build. I mean, I live in a little, tiny rural town, Whitefish, Montana, you know, population under 8,000 people.
Yeah.
And, but there's a lot of business that is done here, and there are a lot of very wealthy people that have homes here. So I'm really looking for like hands-on direction, really, to help me build my business and then be accountable.
Joel,
All right.
this is Carol,
Hi,
and I
Carol.
don't know if this is appropriate or not. I'm actually going through the same thing, and I have a professional consultant that is helping me to modernize and just, you know, working on my business. And it happens to be my son who has a consulting company. And this is what he does. He does it primarily for large corporation type situations, but also smaller businesses. I have no idea whether it would be appropriate for you or not, but it's exactly what he's doing for me, and he's blowing me away with his intelligence. He's so smart. So if you want to reach out to me, I would be happy to ask him. And if he's willing to do this, he's really, really terrific at doing what he does.
That'd be great, Carol. Thank you.
Love that.
So you can just shoot me an email, send it to carol@notarytopro.com, and I'll see what, I'll talk to him and see if he's willing to talk to you a little bit, see if it's fitting.
Great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Carol.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's it for
Love
me,
that.
I think.
All right, Joel, thank you so much. Yeah, and that's a great problem to have. And here's the thing too, and this is for everybody, because what we're really describing is a business consultant or even a detailed business coach. The challenge with just picking anyone is that your goals are your goals. So you've really got to have a clear vision of where you want to go, because that's going to help your coach or your consultant create that task list. So make sure anybody who's looking for this level of growth to have a really crystal clear vision of what you want your life to look like, and start with how you want your life to look like and work your way backwards, reverse engineer that. Because a lot of times we think, oh, I just want a lot more money, or I just want a busy business. But then when you get a busy business and you realize what that does to your life, it means you don't have the flexibility that you really thought you enjoyed. So it works a lot better if you just kind of outline your perfect day, what you want your week to look like, and work your way backwards and have a crystal clear vision of what you're trying to create. All right. Good luck, Joel. Let me know. Joan Homick. Thanks for being here. Homick.
Thank you. Yes. Hi. So I'm pretty new. I received my, I'm in Pennsylvania and got my notary commission in March of this year, and in the process of working through Bill's program. And I think I'm a few weeks to a month away from being ready in all the ways that I need to be ready to do my first signing. But so I'm in the process of setting up the business now, including a website and business name. And I know, Bill, you say in your program that you should choose your business name based on what's available as a web address. I came up with something which, of course, is not available exactly word for word as a web address. What I would like to have is ARC, A-R-C, Mobile Notary. I'm Joan of ARC, Mobile Notary.
I love it.
And so naturally, ARC Mobile Notary is not available, .com is not available. What are two that are available, and actually I've purchased them just in case, are arcnotaryservice.com, which is similar but not exact, and joanofarcnotary.com, which is different than ARC
It's
Mobile
a little
Notary.
on the nose, right? But
it's memorable. It's not the same as the business name would be. So how crucial is it to have the business name and the web address match exactly, or one of these two viable for me?
Okay, great question. So you having a business, like behind the scenes, if you set up an LLC or something, and having that match your domain name is not necessarily of critical importance. What is important is consistency in what they call the NAP or the NAP. Hold on, we got
Going to
some
get my
background
packages.
noise here.
I mean,
Your
for
name-
like business card purposes and yeah, marketing purposes.
So you'd want some consistency, right? If you choose joanavarkmobilenotary.com, but you don't have that, that's not the name of your company, that's going to confuse your customers. So you want some kind of consistency. But if you have like Homic Notary or Homic Services LLC, you can do a DBA as Joan of Arc Mobile Notary and then choose that. But I would try to go as consistent as possible because you just don't want to confuse people.
Right.
I don't know if that was clear or helpful to you or not.
Yeah, I mean, it was what I was thinking, but I thought maybe you'd say, no, Joan of Arc is memorable, so it doesn't matter as much as if your business card says Arc Mobile Notary. But you're saying that it probably does.
It's I would want that to match, I think, just on those two. But you can, if you want to shoot me a text, I love brainstorming the ideas too. So if you get some different domains, we can talk them through and figure it out ultimately. And here's what I tell everybody is you can make anything work, right? So this is, I mean, I have seen some things that make no sense at all, but they're thriving businesses because people are always going to do business with you. So your name, and I learned this so many times because I changed my name like 6 times. The customers didn't even know. They don't even care. They're doing business with me, Bill the Notary. So that's what really matters. So you can find a way to make this stuff work no matter what.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome.
I will
Thanks for being here.
I'll shoot you a text.
All right, sounds good. Mary, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi. Oh, how exciting to be here. Thank you. I'm Mary from California, brand new, and I'm getting a ton out of these meetings and I really appreciate them. So I have sort of one basic question, and somewhere along the line, I thought I got an idea that I was to, in no way, shape, or form, modify a document. And then later I've heard that you can cross things out if the venue's wrong on the notary, what is it? The
certificate?
The certification, yeah. Certificate. You can cross that out. And then I've heard other,
I gotta go run the FedEx.
Other suggestions about marking things out. Usually the people have said you should initial it, and I've heard people say you should initial it and date it. So that's one question, is what can you actually do in California? And the second question is—
Hold on, Mary, hold on right there. We're just going to stop you right there because we're not going to remember that.
Oh.
Laura,
okay.
You want to jump in and help Mary on
Yeah.
that?
So Mary, it's really important to remember there are really 2 parts. There's the document portion, which is the signature line up, and then there's the certificate. We don't modify the document portion from the signature up, but it is our domain to utilize or modify the certificate as needed for the notarization part. So that would include striking, initialing, and replacing a venue if it was incorrect. That would include writing see attached certificate if I'm going to replace it. Those are the things I can do within my area. That's my part. So when you hear the word document, as a notary, I always remember the document is in 2 pieces, and the piece I'm not allowed to touch is signature up, the document part. I am allowed to modify the certificate part. And if I get instruction from a lender that says don't strike anything, then I don't use their certificate. If there's a problem, I write see attached in the signature line of the certificate, and I attach my certificate behind it, and I don't strike out that unused certificate. Does that make sense?
Perfect, thank you. And question 2 is, I have a notary disclaimer stamp, an acknowledgement stamp, and a jurat stamp. Under what circumstances can I use those?
Absolutely. So the disclaimer would be if the notice box that starts a California certificate is missing, and there is room to affix that stamp right above the venue, after the document, before the venue, then you would use the disclaimer stamp. If there is no room to do that, then you would have to attach your certificate instead.
Right.
The jurat wording stamp, right? Is that what you have, a jurat wording stamp or just the
Yes.
word jurat?
No, jurat wording and acknowledgement wording.
So those would be to replace a certificate you're not going to use. And the idea is that there was enough white space on the document to have room to put your wording stamp on there and your seal. If you don't have enough room for both of those, then you're going to have to revert to adding a certificate instead.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being here, Mary. All right, guys, that brings us right up to the 1 hour mark. I'm sorry that we didn't get to all the questions, but thank you so much for being here. Carol, Laura, thank you for carving out so much time to help our notary community. We really appreciate you. And to everybody who took time out of your day, thank you for growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday. We will not see you next week. We're taking next week off for the NNA conference, and we'll be back the following
I was going to
Tuesday.
take it off because it's our 58th wedding anniversary next Tuesday.
Well, that's
Oh, perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Happy anniversary. All right. We'll see you guys
Bye.
later.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, everyone.
Mhm.